friends. As always, it's me, Emperor AP, and today I am here to talk about the Empire of Aeternia, of course. But specifically, I wanted to go about doing something that I haven't done in a long time on the channel, which is to ask you all what you know about the Empire of Aeternia. I have done my best over the course of a few years to discuss my different ideas at length, and to really talk about that. But for people who are brand new, this is a perfect time to get in and ask some questions. For people who have been around for a while, this is a good time to get a refresher. And even more so than that, for me, as the person who's created this content and pushed this narrative and tried to build this nation with all of you, I am still learning about how to present that and how to go about it. In one of our other previous streams, I talked about that exact same concept. And so today, I want to know what you all know about the Empire of Aeternia. Have I expressed correctly my ideas and what our government believes in? Have I been able to push forward a positive narrative about the goals that we have and how we're implementing those? What have I done to express, to provide you with hope for Aeternia? Or what worries do you have about Aeternia? What concerns do you have? So that being the case, please feel free to jump in if anybody has any questions like that. I'm going to go through and kind of walk through my general basic pitch about Aeternia, and we'll see how that goes. So first, Conserve News joins us. This is first. It's good to see you, News. I appreciate you hopping in. I saw that you're a pretty new person to the channel. I replied to a couple of your comments. One of the questions that you asked me as well, I had directly responded to, but I'm going to go back and respond to a few more. I saw you left us a number of them. Kritaria, it's good to see you. Thank you for being here. That means a lot. Republic of Simulia, hey, it's good to see you. If you guys want to give the stream a like, it means a lot. I see a couple of you already have, so thanks for that. Okay. Kritaria says, well, as far as I know, the Empire is a great nation, and I feel like you have made a great nation. Thank you so much. That means a lot. Specifically, though, let's dive in. So, of course, the way that I introduced the video, my name is Emperor AP. Now, the Empire of Aeternia is something that I developed back in 2016. August 20th of 2016 was when the Empire of Aeternia was founded. I was graduating high school. I had looked into micronationalism for a long time and had not been able to find something that was right for me. I had reached out to a number of micronations and asked about citizenship and asked about how I could develop and do things there, but there wasn't much that was active and ongoing for me to participate in that I found. So at that time, I started my own nation. I said, hey, you know what, I don't really see a whole lot out here for me, so I'm gonna go ahead and give it my all. Went ahead and created the Empire of Aeternia, started an Instagram page and a couple other things, and then developed it very slowly internally for myself. Got myself comfortable with the ideas and really thinking through the process and what's practical and trying to develop that. And that all came together in 2018, I believe. We started posting more regularly on the Empire of Aeternia YouTube channel. That was about a year into me going to college, and this was something that really made the Empire what it is. Our first video, very silly, very informal, trying to do something that would get a little bit of attention and do something that was honest and was genuine and was really trying to bust out of my shell, because a lot of what I had done for the Empire of Aeternia up to that point had not been discussed very much. I would post things online a little bit, but there wasn't a ton. So that being the case, develop the Empire of Aeternia, start posting these YouTube videos, start getting feedback. We start developing that pretty quickly into, okay, well, of course, like all YouTube channels, let's start a Patreon, let's start doing all these things. But we started surprisingly finding other micronations out there. I hadn't seen a ton on YouTube about micronations at that point, and so when I started developing content for it and started trying to describe to others who I wanted to join the Empire what my goals were, what we were interested in, that became something that was a big part of it. So the Empire of Aeternia, of course, is a micronation. We are a group that is trying to develop ourselves as an independent society. Now, a lot of micronations, as I've talked about in previous videos, are secessionist or simulationist or realist or fantasy, essentially trying to decide what it is that their specific term is for the way that they want to accomplish their goals. And so for us, we are not secessionists. We do not believe that the piece of territory that we own, or several pieces of territory that we may come to own, in, for example, the United States is something that we need to rip and pry away from the United States to hold on to with guards and, a fortress and walls up to keep people out. We are a nation that believes in the development of our identity. We self-identify in the Empire of Eternia as Eternians. We are saying that that is something that we aspire to. This is something that we have declared for ourselves as our identity, as our ideology. So as we develop our goals and as we move forward, we are doing so with the idea that under the basic understandings of our Guide of Foundation and Principles, our essentially founding document, like the Constitution, we are developing a common sense of ideal. We know these goals that we have the same concerns about society today, and we hope to move forward in a way that makes more sense for our personal living situations. We all want to strive toward having a better life, having a more productive society, and feeling like we matter more, feeling like we have a better place, a more true sense of belonging, and a more true sense of community and identity with the people around us. So that being the case, what a lot of the Empire of Eternia has been about thus far is developing those ideas. Of course, talking to you all has been a big part of that. But eventually, when we started creating these YouTube videos, when we started putting all this out there, we started running into other nations. And that was the big point that I was about to get to, was that once we started developing as a presence online, once we started saying, hey, this is who we are, this is how we live, this is what we do, people started noticing that and kind of reaching out to us and saying, hey, we're these other micronations. One of the first prime examples, and one of the most amazing by far, has been the People's Republic of Parkistopia. They were some people who just happened to be a town over from me and also developing their nation at the time that I had started posting YouTube videos. So that was one of our most successful videos on the channel thus far, and one that was super important to me looking back on our history, something that is defined actually on our website in some of the highlights of our recent history, is that we got to meet General Secretary Prezet of the People's Republic of Parkistopia, and we got to establish our first legitimate relations with another nation, not just shaking hands and saying, oh, well, we've met, but actually trying to establish some agreements, trying to develop some diplomacy, trying to get and build a rapport with one another. So in developing the Empire of Eternia, that has been a lot of what our ideals have been about, the method of achieving them, essentially saying, hey, we're a group of people who, I'll dive into the Guide of Foundations and Principle in just a second. Let me go ahead and reach out to everybody. We have 7 viewers right now, 6 likes. I appreciate you guys joining in. Thank you so much. So Kritaria says, well, as far as I know, the Empire's a great... Oh, thank you. Kaltarcia. I got it. Stardom of Kaltarcia, it's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Dominion of the Asmore Federation says hello there, Emperor AP. Hello there, Dominion. It's wonderful to see you. Whitewind says, I wish I could stay longer. Thought I should stop in and say hello while liking the stream to get more people to join. Eternia Forever. Hey, Eternia Forever, Whitewind. I appreciate it. DG Duck joined us. Thank you so much for being here. Conserve News says, my micronation was founded in 2019. That's wonderful. So you also have a few years under your belt. And we're gonna talk about all that in a second. I feel like thus far in the video, I have explained a lot about our development, but not as much about our foundation and our ideas. So I want to go into that for a brief period, but also to get people adjusted to the ideas. Real quick, we do have a question. Republic of Simulia says, how did you design the Eternian flag? That is a fantastic question. When I was going through high school, right before I started Eternia, but when I was actually getting into micronationalism, I took Photoshop classes in high school. I took graphic design classes. I actually ended up starting a business in high school based around graphic design and t-shirt making. I didn't do super well at it, but that taught me the skills to develop into getting into graphic design, having the Photoshop software, knowing how to use that, and creating our flag. As far as how did I physically create the flag, that's how we did it. If you're talking more culturally, this goes a little bit into our history and our lore, and something that I'm trying to add to our newest version of the Guide of Foundation and Principles is a little bit of history on us here. So the Empire of Eternia's symbol. So if you've never seen the Empire of Eternia's flag, look at our thumbnail there. You can see there. Of course, we have a country ball in the thumbnail here, but it has our flag on it. It's essentially a purple stripe, a white stripe, a purple stripe, and then in the center of it is our insignia, our logo. But what that is the arrow of progress. The arrow of progress is the fundamental identifying symbol for the Empire of Eternia. And the arrow of progress essentially says that we can overcome any obstacle. We can continue to push forward toward progress and innovation for our people by going about it with a human-focused mindset, going toward it with a mindset of creating the highest quality of life for the most people as possible, and trying to do so in a way that is um, uh, functionally um, that is reasonable effectively for people. We want to allow society to grow together. We want to have society grow closer in connection, and we want to be able to advance progress as much as possible. And so the Era of Progress is from the story of Odysseus in the Odyssey, where he, toward the end of the Odyssey, returns home to his kingdom, where he was ruling and had to go off to war, comes back and realizes that his throne has been sought after by many suitors, thinking he is dead, trying to marry his wife. So his wife eventually has to deal with these suitors and says, okay, by our laws, I will host a contest. And whoever can string Odysseus's bow and shoot it through, I think it's 100 axe heads. I forget the number exactly, but whoever can string his bow and shoot it through all of these axe heads, holes for hanging up the axes, then you can become the king. And nobody could even string his bow. Nobody could even get past that part. And then, of course, Odysseus sneaks in, disguised as a beggar, strings his bow immediately, shoots it through all of the axe heads immediately, and then is, of course, recrowned king. Now, the thing that's so inspiring about that to us and why it connects to us so much is the idea that a lot of methods that society is developing, a lot of the things that we have been doing for so long are things that aren't sufficiently functional. We see that they attempt to be something. We see that they go toward trying to be something. Like, for example, taking care of people. The way that our society handles the economy, the way that our society handles the poorest of the poor in our way of living, the way that we treat housing, the way that we treat medical assistance. All of these things, which are fundamental necessities, we deprioritize, and we make them something that people need to search out for themselves and to collect for their own, kind of a survival of the fittest mentality. And that doesn't allow us to quickly achieve the goals that we are aiming for. As we get larger and larger and our goals become more lofty, especially when we talk about going to space or great scientific and cultural achievements, we are talking about things that require a ton of research, a ton of interconnected activity, a ton of cooperative financing, and all of those things are very difficult to achieve when people are constantly fighting over borders, when people are constantly fighting even to survive in their own country, just to make ends meet. We have so much unutilized potential there. And so the Era of Progress says, hey, if we can redirect ourselves, if we can actually be the ones who are qualified to do that, if we can actually be the people who are pushing forward the correct narrative, then we will hit the mark every time. That doesn't mean Aeternia will be something that is perfect. That doesn't mean that Aeternia is something that has some inherently better knowledge. It is that we follow the truth. It is that we try our best to make the best possible action for the most amount of people every single time. And as long as we follow that arrow of progress, as long as we move in that direction of prosperity and peace for humanity, we can etch our way into the future, and we can make it certain that we achieve more and more and improve on ourselves every time. That's a lofty goal. That's something that's very, very difficult, as you can see with the stringing of Odysseus's bow. But we believe that with the right strength, with the right person, with the right mindset, anyone can become an Eternian, and they can develop into this uh, society that we are building for the future. So, that being the case, that is found in the guide of, or that's something that I'm going to be putting into the guide of foundation and principles. The guide of foundation and principles currently is just a general rough guide for people who want to join the Empire of Eternia. It discusses essentially that we have problems with the way that society is run in the 21st century, and we use that to then expand upon and say, hey, well, this is what we believe, this is how we govern ourselves, and these are the different methods by which we interact. So, of course, we talk about the government, of course, we talk about a little bit of our history and stuff. But the other thing that we talk about, that functionality, how we're going about doing things, we have developed the prestige system in the Empire of Eternia, which is essentially a way for everybody to develop themselves in our society. The prestige system is effectively an accounting system for the different people in our economy. So we have the citizen's license, or the citizenship license, we have the foreign dignitaries license, and we have the sovereign's license, or the sovereignty license. Now, the citizen's license is the license for somebody who becomes a citizen of the Empire of Eternia. There are a few rules to follow to become a citizen of the Empire of Eternia, one of which is not being a citizen of any other micronation. So you can be the citizen of, for example, the United States, as I am a dual citizen with, but you cannot be a citizen of another micronation and still be a citizen of Eternia. So the way that works, once somebody becomes a citizen, is that they can actually get a free digital citizenship license in which we fill out all of their information, and we start to set them up with a role in our society. That's something that they tell us their skills, their interests, and we start to find how they're going to fit into the group that we already have. When doing that, they can earn prestiges, which are essentially different access levels to different things. So say you're somebody who is in aspiration to become a part of the government. Well, if you become a part of the government, you will get a special prestige that means, hey, you can look at this documentation, you have this certain clearance, you have this certain ability to interact with foreign governments and stuff like that in the Empire of Eternia. There are other things, for example, we have the Aristocrat Board, which are the people who have donated the most money and invested the most money in our economy. So that being the case, those are the people with the most imperial notes, which you can find on our Etsy. But those imperial notes are something which shows how much somebody has invested into our nation and how much they've helped us to grow up to this point. And so looking at that as a percentage of our economy, those people get a special prestige there. When we start to expand more and we start to be able to have local events, we want to offer people with that prestige the ability to come to special gatherings and special events that we have to thank them for being such wonderful contributors to our nation. Every time, we only have 10 people who are on the Aristocrat Board. Those are all considered Eternian aristocrats. But because people purchase more of this currency, because people purchase more imperial notes, the bar to get into the Aristocrat Board is higher and higher. So it helps us a lot to develop our economy, and it also is a wonderful way for people to support us. That is something that I want to do better about, developing and giving back to. So the aristocrat position and positions like it are something that have been really fundamental in developing the prestige system. So that being the case, you have those prestiges, and then you also have skills. Now, skills are just very generally the way that the way that a citizen goes about conducting their business. So, for example, if you're good with carpentry, if you're good with law or medicine or whatever it is, education, you can put those things down and we will verify them. And what we hope to do is to develop a system in which people who are looking for work, in the sense of people who are looking to have a job completed, whether that's a long-term employer, whether that's somebody who's looking for a quick side gig to get done for them, whether that's a foreign nation who is wanting to contract like a large-scale business deal with the empire. Those people would be shown potential qualified candidates for those positions based on their skills in the Empire of Aeternia. And depending on these different jobs and how skilled the person is, how much they've proven a successful track record, they can be brought into more specifically targeted for more advanced things. So, for example, if we have some really, really complex government project in the Empire that we need done, if we're trying to build something out at Vitae, if we're trying to, work on a power generation system or something like that, if we're trying to wire a transformer, we need somebody with a very special skill and who can do that very well, so that we make sure that we get it done using the government's money and appropriating it correctly. So, when doing that, we need to make sure we have the right person for the job, and now we have a system to do that, which is really cool. So that's the other thing that the Guide to Foundation of Principles talks about, this version of it, version 1. So if you want to go and check that out, that is on our website at eternianempire.wixsite.com/imperial market. If you go and check that out, it teaches you, again, a lot about how the government runs, who we are, and why we are trying to develop the way that we are. So as we continue on, one of the biggest things that I have been thinking about is trying to relate exactly what our next steps are. I've been trying to come up with a video specifically to encapsulate everything we've been doing for the last 3-4 months. And there's a lot of different projects in there. So I don't want to necessarily do one per thing, because I don't think it's quite enough for that, but I also don't think it's enough for one whole. I think it's too much for one video as well. So we'll see about that. But first off, Simulia says mine was formed January 13th, 2023, relatively new. Hey, congratulations, though. That's incredible. Whiteman says I can stay longer than I thought. I'm glad to hear. Excuse me, guys. I'm trying to cool my phone down a little bit. White One says massive storm is rolling through. Yeah, we're getting a little bit of it here. It's not terrible, but DG Ducks was founded 2001. Oh wow. White Wind says slow internet. Ooh, on our side or on your side? Let me know. Conserve News says over 3 years I went through like 100 flags and 5 different ideologies. So first off, how did that work? And secondly, when you were doing that, did it? Ooh, that's tough. When you were doing that, was it something that you were just learning about, or was this something that was legitimately massive, like political shifts to your personal ideology? Like, were you like, wow, I'm seeing the world really differently? Or is this just like I tried this one out, but people didn't really like it or whatever, so then I jumped to this one? Because that's a lot. That's a lot for a country of people to do in 3 years. Sardom of Caltarcia says mine was the 1st of March 23, but that's because someone destroyed my last one. I've been in micronationalism since 2017. Oh wow, that's cool to hear, but I'm sorry to hear about the rough situation with your previous nation. White One says mine was January 15th, 2020, population of 80. Wow. Conserve News says nice. For me, I have a population of 4. That's completely fine. I wanted to bring that up as well. So that's something for probably just another time. But we have videos talking about, the value of citizenship and stuff like that. Talking about Aeternia, we don't have a ton of citizens either. I think as of right now, our count of citizens is 7. 7. So that's something that's really interesting, right? You're like, oh, the Empire of Aeternia have a couple thousand subscribers. Why don't you have more citizens? We have severely adapted our citizenship requirements since we initially started. When I initially started developing the Empire of Aeternia, anybody who wanted to, for basically any reason, could become a citizen. Then at a certain point, once we developed the YouTube channel, we said, okay, all citizens at least need to be subscribed, so all of our subscribers can automatically become citizens. And then, once we started to get a good number of subscribers, but those people weren't actually helping us develop much, then we said, okay, well now, we need some kind of formal process to start getting citizens. So we started doing that. And that was a thing. People, you fill out that's how it is now. You fill out an application, you develop that. And then we extended it a little further and we said, okay, now which is the point that it's in its modern iteration. To be a citizen of the Empire of Eternia, you cannot be the citizen of another micronation, and you must provide some monetary value to the Empire of Eternia. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean you have to, contribute a tax. We do have a Patreon where you can do that. There is something called the citizenship tier, in which you pay a $1 monthly tax to our government in order to help support us, and that's your entire role as a citizen. If you don't want to do any more in the Empire of Eternia, that is your bare minimum, and you are able to retain citizenship through that and all the perks that it comes with. And if you'd like to do more, there are obviously avenues to do that. But then to go into a role and to develop yourself in our empire. But as well, even if you don't have the dollar or whatever, that is perfectly fine. We have a system in which people can work for us and can, do little tasks for us, and that be the equivalent. It can be as simple as sending us a picture one time, of showing off your stuff to us, or writing a proposal for an idea for something that we're doing. Just showing that you are engaged with our community can be plenty enough for us to have you as a citizen. Just wanting to contribute. So that's how we find worth in our citizens. And I think it's interesting because a lot of micronations, for the aspirations that they have and for the developments that they have, will have lots and lots of citizens, but the value of each citizenship isn't a ton because they're not all pushing toward the same things, and they're not trying to all necessarily develop seriously. So it really takes a lot to hone what it is that is important in micronationalism to you. And for the Empire of Eternia, the image of what we want has been shaped over years. So even now, the difference between what we were doing when we started in 2016 versus now is significantly different. Not to the extent of political ideology, we've always wanted the same things there, not to the extent of technology, but to the extent of practical methodology for how to develop each and every one of our goals. I did not think of things when I first started that I am thinking of and developing now. I have not had the help and assistance of super smart people who are a part of our government and a part of our society, people who are really skilled at different things, who have taught me a lot. I would not have developed our government the way that it is now without those people's assistance and consultation. So there is, again, a lot that the Empire of Eternia has become because of other nations, other micronations, which we're very grateful for, our own citizens, and again, just the general community with you all. So the Empire of Eternia is something that has gone from being just, there needs to be something different. We need a better society, to how do we develop this better society? What does that better society actually look like? And then moving on into, okay, so we have this thing going, the ball's rolling, people are on board, we have some investment. How do we actually develop that into something practical? And that's been what we have been dealing with, I'd say, probably trickling into the past 2 to 3 years. Very, very minorly. I'm saying 2 to 3 years ago, being like, hey, we got a subscriber on Patreon for $1 a month for 3 months, and then they did, we were slowly developing. Luckily for us, we have had a handful, about 5 or 6 fantastic people who at one time or another have jumped on board and have really, really given 1,010%, and have made Aeternia an incredible, incredible place. And so that, has continued to grow and develop until now. And we're having people now who are coming in who are absolutely incredible, and who are making a huge difference to us. So that's a big deal in and of itself. But that's what I really want to show. Right now, what we're doing is we're taking that development, that slow trickle and build up, and trying to find a proper way to invest it, trying to find the best way that we expand out in all directions, because we have to focus our efforts somewhere. But the Empire of Eternia has a lot of different facets to it now. We have our government. We have, of course, our media. We have, which doesn't just extend to this. It's our Discord. It's our YouTube. It's our Instagram. It's our Twitter. It's our TikTok. 5 different social medias that we are all running and operating and trying to keep together. And on top of that, it's also trying to develop us economically. It's trying to make sure that we continue to do well and continue to prosper and continue to be able to push the proper narrative on responding to the situation in the United States that's going on. Um, massive issues with naturals. Goodness, with chemicals leaking into the natural environment. Lots dealing with, of course, just deregulation issues around global warming, dealing with economic hardship and really disparate poverty by a lot of people in a first world country. It, Political instability, culture war stuff, all of that um, is stuff that we react to and that we discuss because it's an important part of the people who develop and become Eternians. These are people who want to see change, want to see some difference in the world, and so we're all coming together to talk about that and to see, hey, what is it exactly we don't like about the world, and what is it exactly that would make a meaningful impact to us and change our lives personally for the better in that way. So one of the biggest things that we are trying to push for is a long-term goal. Of course, we have a piece of property now, Vitae, which is something that was up until this past year our entire driving motivation as our first major goal, which I didn't. Goodness. That I didn't. I got a text message that scared me. That I didn't. Um, uh, Excuse me, I'm completely blanking now. Um, there are a lot of different facets of the Empire of Eternia, and um, the whole thing that I was trying to say is when we develop those, what we're trying to do is to make something that works best for all of us. So, again, one of those big goals that we've been trying to set up is to have that piece of property. Now we do. It's going to be developed into our capital of Vitae, and it is a place that myself and my family hope to live pretty short order in the next few years. And then we'd like to have that set up for other citizens to join as well. So that's one big project, going from getting the land in and of itself over years to now, in maybe the same amount of time or less, actually developing that into a place that is habitable for us, a place that is affordable for us, and a place that helps to make, again, just one more little degree of separation between us and the outside world, to really say, this is who we are, to really define something unique for ourselves and to say, hey, we're, a little bit self-sustaining out here. We're doing it on our own, and we're trying our best to provide for our people. So, again, going into, okay, well, you say you're going to have, yourself and your family out there. All right, now you're saying you're going to have citizens out there. You're going to have people who come to live out there and rely on that. How does that work? How does that make sense? So the property that we have is 3.5 acres, not a lot. And what we're hoping to do is actually to be able to develop small shelters, again, like tiny houses, on that property for people who are in the right position in life to be able to come and work and help us develop Aeternia, and to be able to live there completely rent-free. So the idea would be we are providing, as of right now, again, over years things have changed, and so I'm sure my ideas in 5 years will be different from today. And I'd love to go back and review the video at that point to see how it did. If we do that, everybody jump back in and see what you were like from 5 years ago. But for now, the idea is we want to develop industries. One of our biggest industries right now is our metal refining industry, and I'll talk about that soon. But if we can get that going, we currently are in development to build our first little shelter there. Now, Vitae is a completely untouched piece of land, and what I mean by that is Vitae does not have any water lines running through it, so we will have to dig a well and get that done. Vitae does not have electricity currently set up to the city, though we can get that. We would have to get that set up. We, in addition, need septic. We don't have, a sewer system that we're connected to. So all of those things are really, really big benefits of that property, and also big issues with the development of this civilization, this community that we're developing. The speed with which we can get people out there depends on the speed with which we can make it something that is safe and reasonable and practical for people to have out there, to live out there. So those are all big projects nested in one mega project. But those things, and they're all expensive and difficult on their own, but those are each stepping stones that mark us, one, toward that ultimate goal of having residents there who can live and work and depend on Eternia for their development and really be a part of our society uniquely from their lives outside of it. And as well, to be able to do that in a way that truly marks us as separate. So being able to say, hey, we have our own water source here. It's not connected to the outside. It's, based on our property rights, our ability to pump the water out of the ground, that's ours. To be able to pull in a recycling filtering system for that, that's ours. Being able to have our own solar panels, our own stuff like that, so that we can be as off-grid as possible, that's, again, also something that it's a possibility and something we're going to be working toward. Doing things like building our own septic and dealing with our own waste system and all of that, that is another thing that, again, makes us one step further removed. So when we're doing all of this, we are building the foundation, the guided foundation of principles. We're building the foundation for our nation. We're doing something which is fundamental to really taking a larger step when it comes to community building and when it comes to putting your own life into it. If you're really going to commit to developing a nation and, living with a group of people and developing your life in that way, you have to make sure it's going to be comfortable for you, right? If you're pitching something to somebody and you're saying, hey, come out and do all this stuff and just, pack your bag and join on, you wouldn't do that unless you had certain guarantees and proof that you were going to be safe, that your family was going to be safe, that you were going to have reliable means of getting the things that you needed, and more opportunity than you have in your current position. Because again, even just talking about bare minimum, even if somebody likes the idea, if it's harmful to their quality of life to go and do it, they're probably not going to be interested. This needs to be something that people can support not only from afar, but something that they actually say, hey, that's an opportunity for me. That's something that I can do that will improve my standard of living, that will improve my quality of life, and something that I feel like my children and their children can invest in. That's eventually where we want to get to. We're a long way off from that. But, if that's looked at as a pie in the sky idea now, which I can completely understand your view if you have that one. When we first started this YouTube channel, we could not have possibly dreamed of getting land, even at this point. I have been broke the entire time I have run the Empire of Aeternia. I went from being somebody in high school to being somebody in college, to being somebody still in college, pursuing a graduate degree. And so, that being the case, I have not had a ton of time to rack up a lot of money, and I have been dedicating all of my spare time, pretty much, to developing the Empire of Aeternia and spending time with my family, and my friends. And so that has been a big driver of my motivation here is, we did that. Our community, all of you who have been here, who have liked, commented, subscribed, talked on our Discord, hung out with us on Instagram, did our Twitter live spaces, stuff like that, our Twitter spaces, live stream stuff, people who joined us on Twitch when we were on Twitch for a very small amount of time, all of those people who have supported us on Patreon. I'm going to shout out our patrons. We got Eric and we got Steven. Appreciate y'all. Y'all are, again, a big part of the reason that we're doing this and why we're here. As well, shout out to our citizens, of course, Vincent. We got everybody. I feel like, for me, what Aeternia is developing into is something that has a lot of potential for different people. And so, because we were able to get this piece of land, which again I couldn't have afforded by myself, it was thanks to all of you that we were able to do this. I now have the opportunity to pull myself out of a deep financial situation with regards to the rent system in the United States. If you are not trying to work into your 80s or 90s with very low paying jobs. Of course, I'm going for a master's degree, so I may have opportunities outside of that. But let's say I don't. Let's say I am to be assumed as someone who has no qualifications, no abilities. If I'm trying to go out there and make it, I sure may be able to find something, but that's not guaranteed. And that job may come with very, very difficult circumstances to the point that I could become injured and no longer able to work and barely able to afford to survive. My family has done that for as long as I've been alive, working and living paycheck to paycheck, trying to keep up with rising rent costs. So that being the case, in Eternia, I have the opportunity, in Vitae specifically, I have the opportunity to free myself and my family from that. To be able to say, hey, if we can save that little bit of money, it's not a little bit, if we can save that money that we were paying rent, large percentages of our income to just save and to develop with, we have a lot of economic opportunity there. And sure, we could, set up a place for, rental properties and do the same thing to somebody else, but that's horrible. Why would you want to do that? So we want to try to invest in innovation and development. We want to invest in people's skills and their abilities. And so we want to develop these industries which are going to provide sales for us and continued revenue to upkeep the empire of Eternia, but as well to provide uh, jobs and positions and employment to the people who are going to be living and spending their money in Eternia. We have gotten what we want out of it. We have gotten this piece of land. So in doing that, I think everything from here on out needs to be focused on, okay, we got a little bit. Now, how are we going to more evenly push that out to the rest of the community that we have, the rest of our society? It has improved my life dramatically to be a part of the Empire of Eternia. I have seen the benefit and the value of the Arrow of Progress through all of you. And so now I am trying to figure out how we better build that to make cushions for the rest of our citizens. For me, what that means right now is developing our industry. So again, we have our metals refining industry. We just actually released our first set of, um, oh goodness, I'm gonna, 1/4 kilogram or about a half pound um, ingots. No, it's a 1/4 kilogram or 1 pound ingots. Might be a half pound. Aluminum ingots. We are releasing Eternia's first larger aluminum ingots. We had made some before, which were, several ounces. I think 4 or 5 ounces, something like that. Aluminum ingots. Now we are at a significantly larger size. And we offer right now, because we're just starting out with it, two of them. So if somebody wants to develop their treasury, if your micronation, your empire is trying to build up a nice sizable quantity of metal to trade with, to work with, and make products with, whatever, aluminum's something that's nice that we've been able to do quite a bit with, and are hopefully going to come out with some more crazy products for you guys with. But for the time being, we're just releasing these ingots. We're going to clean them up, polish them, and send them out to you guys for purchase if you want. So again, right now, because we're just starting out with this, we want to see if people like it and see if we can do more with it. We are offering 2 of those ingots right now for $12. So it's $6 a piece, but we don't just sell one. We're selling a pack of 2 for 12. It just works out better and is more worthwhile with the shipping. So let me know, guys. Let me know what you're up to. Let me know if you think this is something that's positive for us and how we can continue to move forward. Because as we've been continuing to develop, I have been really, really keenly interested in developing our ability to make things for ourselves. Of course, if we can sell those as products to other people, that's fantastic, and that's ultimately the goal. but for ourselves, that also, every time we advance and develop, gives us a little bit of ease for the cost that we accrue to be able to expand and develop. So if we can make our expansion and development a little bit more cost effective for us, then it's easier for us to do it. That sounds like no duh, but being able to actually target specific resources and specific industries to develop your economy with at different levels and scales of your economy is going to be something that's really hard to do, at least for myself. Something I'm still learning, and that's something that we're working on as Aeternia as a whole. This is something I've been talking to people like Vincent about. This is stuff that I have been trying to develop with Tiffany and myself, and talking to just other people, anybody who will listen to it, especially recently, about, you know, what is the exact way that we need to do this? What is our strategy for reaching out to other people who aren't micronationalists to develop these products? What is our best opportunity to streamline our production process and stuff like that? Talking to people who are potential customers and asking them, hey, what are the kinds of things that you would want? Because if we can focus in on an industry and we can really make something that is a successful business as Aeternia's first primary industry. Again, we have a few other things for sale on the Imperial market, which always help out. Of course, we have our Unity metal, our Imperial notes and stuff like that. But those ingots are something that are kind of our first step into growing a practical industry for ourselves, and again has countless benefits for us as well, for our own manufacturing capabilities, you know, for things that we need as we continue to develop housing and infrastructure there in Vitae. So that being the case, I hope I've been able to answer some things. Let me go ahead and reply to some comments now that everybody's heard me go on my pitch, my 47-minute pitch. Kataria says, also AP, thank you for your inspiration recently. We are now a more professional micronation. Of course, I'm glad to hear it. Although I would say I don't like the term professional in that sense. I mean, sure, you can definitely be a professional, like, you know, you doing it for your living. Sure, I understand that concept, but I think you should have fun with micronationalism. I think the concept of being a professional micronation, I've heard some micronations use that terminology, is something to me that makes it appear as though it has to follow a very strict code of what is deemed professional. And a lot of that deals with like business culture. And I don't agree with that at all. I think micronationalism is a very expressive thing. I think it's a very cultural and artistic thing. And I think it's something that, while yes, deals with a lot of professionalism as far as needing to have diplomacy, needing to be aware of other sensibilities and stuff like that, and have tact, I think a lot of it is also really, really heavily dependent on one's ability to understand and relate to others who are different than them. So that's something that I really stress. Micronationalism is fun. Micronationalism is something that is passionate, is exciting. I would say you are you're more easily able to accomplish your goals. You are somebody who is the more ideal version of what you want to be. You're closer to the ideal Kritaria, you know. But I wouldn't say necessarily more professional, because again, that, you know, have you seen a change in your income now because of it? Maybe. I'm not sure. Conserve News says he spoke for all of us. Hey, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. That means a lot, Conserve News. I hope you're doing well. Again, I know you're new to the channel, but it means a lot. And we're always looking for people. So if you are interested in joining the Empire of Aeternia, let us know. White One says, AP, our territory up north in Cleveland, Ohio, we've lost communication with them. They aren't responding. Excuse me one second. Had a tickle in my throat. Aren't responding to our emails anymore. I think they backed out of the Empire as once they joined. Oh, I'm so sorry to hear that. I know you said you had lost the territory. Is this the same territory, or is this a new territory? Because I remember you said you had lost him at one of your territories. That was a hard thing. I have a whole section of videos on territories and stuff like that, but I should probably hit up some more because that is a topic that comes up frequently. Finn K says hello. Hey Finn, how are you? It's good to see you. Thank you for hanging out with us and spending time. Just by being here, you're actively helping us to increase our watch time, so thank you so much. We are really trying to get to 4,000 hours this year. Right now we're at, I think, like 2,600. We are very far away from it, but if you guys can help to bring people into these streams, and I can help by doing more streams, we should be able to reach that 4,000, hopefully by the end of the summer. Ari says, my basically dead micronation was founded March 3rd, 2021. Why do you say basically dead? Also, if it is and you feel like all right about that, I guess, if you want to join the Empire of Aeternia, we're always here. Again, that's one thing that's always really surprising to me, is that, you know, a lot of people will say, like, oh, my micronation's doing this or that or whatever, and there's so many problems, but then you hit them up and you're like, hey, you know, you want to try and develop something together, and I think people are very nervous about that. And it doesn't even have to be like, oh, join my nation, become a citizen. Even just like trying to develop projects with other nations, I find a lot of micronations are wary about interaction sometimes. Oh goodness. Y'all like it when I drop the entire stream? Y'all like it when I just accidentally choke slam you into the ground? I'm so sorry. I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm trying to cool off my phone because I was charging my phone at the same time as doing the stream, and it created a lot of heat in the battery, and so now I'm trying to aggressively cool it off with my air conditioning. So forgive me if it becomes too noisy. I'll try and keep it to a minimum. XD said hello. Hey, what's going on? Whitewind says, welcome, Ari. Ari says, hello, Whitewind. Whitewind says, I feel bad. I bailed on my friend. Me and him were playing game, and I said, gotta go. Uh-oh. But I appreciate you hanging out in the stream with us. If you need to get back to your friend, I more than understand. But it does mean a lot that you're developing your micronation, talking to us. I'm sure they will understand if they're, you know, excited about hanging out with you, or you can jump back on later. XD says, question, how did you get the name Aeternia? That is a fantastic question. I'm sorry if I missed that for the longest time, but I will answer it now. We have the name Aeternia from two different words. The word eternal, meaning forever, and the word ethereal, meaning light or airy, like a spirit. So the idea was, when Aeternia was initially founded, we had no territory. No territory at all. We had where I was, because I did not own land. Nobody in my family owned property. My immediate family owned property. And so we really didn't have a good way of saying, hey, this is our border and our territory, and this is who we are, and so stay away from us, sort of thing. So what we needed to do instead was to have a way to be friendly and inviting, and to show that there was some legitimate essence to Aeternia, that Aeternia had some presence in the world, it just did not have a physical territory. And so some micronations have solved that problem by saying, oh, well, my bedroom's my territory. Some micronations have solved that problem by saying, oh, well, you know, the internet's our territory, or oh, Mars is our territory, or whatever. For us, or Beer to Will is our territory, but for us, it has been about trying to connect with others. So what we said was, hey, whatever you control, like whatever, even if it's just the land below your feet, like even if it's just that little bit of territory, that is something that you can contribute to us. You know what I mean? Your personal space, your bubble, who you are, you can contribute that to the Empire of Aeternia. And so I, you know, when I lived in dorm rooms and apartments and stuff like that, I donated those places to the Empire of Aeternia. That was our territory. That was our headquarters for the longest time. And so with that, you know, the name Vitae moved around as well. Vitae meaning dealing with life. Vitae meaning, I think, of life. And so that is a big deal for us, is trying to develop from those roots and to keep that essence with us. So that's what Aeternia means. It is the combination of the words ethereal, light or airy like a spirit, because you carry the spirit of the era of progress with you to some extent. You exude the spirit of Aeternia. You are the representation of us wherever we are. So if we don't have a specific headquarters and embassy in your nation, in the macro nation that you're in, or the micro nation that you're in, or whatever, you still have yourself. That if you are an Aeternian, you can represent us, and you can be the guiding light for people. You can be the assistance for trying to push positive change and make a difference. You can stand up for what you believe in by doing that, by just being who you are, by going out and seeking those goals that the Empire of Aeternia would want developed. You represent the good in all of us, and so that's where that name comes from, and that's what we hope to keep true to as we continue to develop. Now that we do have land, we are still very heavily active with trying to develop projects with our citizens who are not near close to us, and yet that is something that we are hoping to do more and more of as we incorporate people locally as well. Conserve News says, I find the economy to be the hardest step in ruling. The only money we have is called Eureka. I have watched hundreds of micronation economy videos and still can't master. Dang, wait, hold up. You've watched, are there hundreds of videos on micronational economics? If there are, teach me, because I know about ours. Maybe there are a few others. Hit me up. Do you know about ours? Like, have you checked them out? I'm not saying ours are like top 100% super fire, the best thing in the world, but they're not bad. Like, I would hit them up. Because have you seen ours? These are the questions. That guy was hyped. Dominion of the Asmore Federation retracted their message. Conservative News retracted their message. White One says, every time I see XD, every time I send you a oh, okay. Conservative News says, man, do I love ancient Rome. Hey, very cool. I'm glad to hear it. Well, we have some stuff dealing with ancient Rome in our history and in our culture. First off, White One said 8 watching, 9 likes. Now we have 10 viewers and 14 likes who are all, every second they are here, helping to increase our watch time and promote us more on the YouTube platform. So thank you guys so much for being here. Again, the more that you stay and the more that you can hang out, the more that you can talk to us and like the video like somebody just did, now up to 15 likes. We're helping to expand the channel. White One says, I remember when AP was at 1.2 thousand subscribers, and that was like a year or so ago. Like, it's taken us a long time just to get from 1,000 to 2,000 subscribers, but it has been a huge deal, and I am incredibly lucky. We're almost at 2,125, or maybe we're over that. Now we may be close to 2,200, and I am again floored by that. We have so little to go until 3,000, and then on and upward. But Conservative News says, damn. Chad Cook says, hello. Hey, Chad Cook, how are you? Artie says, I like the story about the flag, but when Aeternia builds more of culture, it could be redesigned to represent more of Aeternia and not like a story of Could it be redesigned to represent more of Aeternia and not like a story of bravery? Artie, that's a fantastic question. I think to some extent, but at the same time, that's what inspired me. It's not a story of bravery, right? It's a story of bravery to the extent that he's, doing this. It, to me, is an analogy about utilizing the right, excuse me, utilizing the right thing at the right time. Wait, I'll be right back. Yeah, you're good. Sorry about that. So, the idea that inspired me, and the thing that is so important about the Odyssey and the era of progress there, is about somebody being able to overcome these enormous odds. This thing that everybody seemed to not be able to do to Odysseus is not effortless, but very within the realm of possibility. It's not, I think normal interpretation of the story of Odysseus, and specifically that scene from the story of Odysseus, that chapter or whatever, uh, is that section of the story is effectively a story of, well, he was just a super strong, amazing, charismatic person, whatever, a super able person, a superhuman to that extent. And that's not, the interpretation that I'm taking with the Era of Progress. What the Era of Progress represents and what is really important about it is the idea that if you are pushing, if that bow and arrow, that string of that bow and arrow is a metaphorical goal, it's something that you want to achieve that's not literally stringing a bow and arrow, that if you have the right mindset about it, it becomes well within the realm of possibility. Even things that are, surpassing human expectation. If you have the right mindset about it, and if you approach it the right way, at the right time, you can achieve things that other people think is impossible. You can push the bounds of human society and innovation, and that is the idea. So I don't see a reason necessarily to ever change it. It is about Aeternia, it's about us doing that. We followed the Era of Progress from having no direct home, no land, nothing tied to the value of Aeternia as a larger scale asset. And now we have a territory. Now we have a place to call home from that. By doing the right things at the right time, making the right moves, the right developments, and supporting our people properly enough so that we could build ourselves up together and be able to accomplish this larger goal. And now that we've done that, we're going to do it with loftier and loftier goals until we have a society that we can show other people and say, hey, look how well we're doing. Look at, the things that we're able to accomplish. If we were to, as a human society, shift our ideology a little bit and shift our culture a little bit to pursue that progress, to pursue, a base minimum value of a human life, and to be able to expand upon that and make that better and better to improve everybody's quality of life. That would be, and to appropriate resources for that. That would be the ideal scenario. That would be something that would be absolutely following the arrow of progress. So that's the idea. White One says, welcome, Chad. White One says, no nation is ever perfect. Chad says, purpose. Hey, very cool. Are you asking about our purpose, Chad? I'm curious to see. White One says, the nation that is closest to perfection is Switzerland. Oh, interesting. Conservative News says, LMAO, yeah, they witnessed a lot. Lizlo Republic says, OMG. Hey, what's up, Lizlo? It's good to see you. Thank you for joining us. Conservative News says, to be well, Switzerland had an advantage. Conservative News says, yo, do you guys have anthems? Yes. So the Empire of Aeternia's anthem, which you can check out, is We're Finally Landing by the artist Home. Now, that is a song which was created by a music producer out there, not affiliated with Aeternia whatsoever, who made their music completely free for profit and is completely in the public domain, and is somebody who makes incredibly interesting like cinematic scores. And this is something that is a little bit futuristic-y sounding. It's something that fills you, at least me, with inspiration when I hear it. It's something that makes me excited, and it's something that I think builds kind of an enthusiasm from it, and a spirit, in the way that you feel, and the excitement that builds when you listen to the song, that actually is very reflective of Aeternia. So I feel like as we continue to develop, and as we continue to do more and more with it, the anthem of Aeternia will become a larger and larger part of the different ceremonies that we do locally. But I think what's so interesting about it is that a lot of national anthems are, glory to the motherland, and na-na-na-na-na, and, really about singing the praises of the people, right? And that's not necessarily what this is. It's not singing the praises of anyone, because that's not necessarily its purpose. Its purpose is to provide the spirit, provide the motivation, the enthusiasm of people in the nation, to represent and underline the spirit of the nation through song. And so instead of just directly saying that, because people develop and change over time, just about any national anthem sounds dated and weird to people who have lived in that society for centuries and centuries. You know, very few, if any, people have their macro-national anthem, you know, the nation that they're from, their homeland, their anthem on their phone or something like that, you know, that listen to it regularly and that enjoy it. That's not necessarily something Aeternians have to do with this song either, but I think this song allows for that a lot more because it doesn't have a specific wording or phrasing that would take you into, setting you into a specific time period or setting you into a specific, set of, you know, specific story or specific set of beliefs there. It's something that is able to change with time and yet hold a consistent feeling. It is the same score forever, but it can mean different things to different people at different times, and that's kind of the hope of it. It is something that can be adaptable. It can grow with Aeternia without ever losing its luster. So, it's simple, and I love it. Sardom of Keltercia says, yes, I just ripped off Belgium's. Oh, nice. Yep, see, a lot of people do stuff like that. Conservative News says, I just used the Persian anthem, TVH. Yeah, a lot of people do. Republic of Samulia says, we have one. Lizlo Republic says, I used an AI for the sound. That's very cool, and I think that's something that's going to become a lot more popular. Lizlo, how did that work? Does it have lyrics to it, or is it just, you know, the background music? And if it is something, it sounds like you might have added lyrics to the score that an AI wrote. How does that work? Do you feel like it came out with what you wanted? White One says, our current Prime Minister and Council chose it. Hey, very cool. Conservative News says the Persian anthem is pretty cool. Lizlo says, okay, we get it. Republic of Hera says, hello. Hey, what's going on, Hera? It's good to see you. Thanks for hanging out, and thanks for liking the video. It means a lot. Finn says, hey, Republic of Hera. Republic of Hera says, I love your channel. I'm a micronation. You have seen me in lives. Yes, I have. And it's good to see you, Hera. I really appreciate that. Again, I hope to do more and more with the Empire of Aeternia channel and to really represent what it is that we as Aeternians are trying to do. I think part of what I've struggled with for a long time, and something that I want to talk about real quick while we have some time here, is what do you all want to see from the channel? Because regardless, I'm always going to be updating what we're doing as far as the basic facts of, hey, you know, this is how far we've gotten on the Cal Exit coin progress. This is how far we've gotten with our sales of our ingots. This is how far we've gotten with the development of the territory of Vitae. This is how far we have gotten with our, you know, just economic stats in general, and, you know, any trade deals, negotiations with other nations, partnerships and stuff like that, reactions to different news things. But as far as the style of content, I have been really back and forth on myself, because I want to do things that are more expressive. I feel in myself that a lot of the things that I want to develop, I think would fit well with you guys in doing something that's fun and a little bit silly, while still maintaining a serious nature with Aeternia and with, you know, its development as the ruler of Aeternia, as representing its government. I want to do that job seriously, but I feel like this YouTube channel is more than that, and I feel like it delves a lot into our culture and into, you know, a feeling of artistic expression in trying to develop how people see us and in exactly what content we're putting out. You know, I think there are plenty of micronations who can grab a camera and walk up to something and say, hey, this is what we're doing. We got this many coins, and over here, here's our flag on a pole, and right here we got some beans growing in the ground, and right here we got our compost toilet, and right here we got, you know, an ant bed that I burned with a magnifying glass, and over here, you know, and just kind of going through that. I think what's more interesting to me and what is more exciting is to actually be able to develop stories about Aeternia and to tell those in a way that are interesting and engaging, to really represent what we're actually doing, and to have updates that are, you know, just cut and dry, here's what it is, these are the updates, but then have other videos which are specifically made to be artistic pieces in Aeternia, that are specifically made to be something fun and engaging, that when somebody finds it on the internet, they go, this is crazy, this is incredible, what is this? Oh, this is the Empire of Aeternia. Oh, this is, you know, this group of people who have fun with each other, who are developing this society together, and who are telling stories about their lives and their experience doing that in a way that is engaging, and in a way that is humble, and in a way that is direct, and in a way that makes you want to sit down and watch, you know, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes of it, if we can get to that point. But I want it to feel really rich to you. I want it to feel, as somebody who's following along with us, that you are getting every minute out of it that you hope for. Because I know for us, that's what I scoured the internet for. Now that I've started to develop that, now that I've met all of these incredible people who have become a part of Aeternia and who have opened my eyes to what it can be, I really want to reflect that in what we're doing. And so I hope that if you guys ever have any criticisms of what we're doing, or if you have any suggestions, please talk to me about that. Even, you know, right now, I'm going to read through some comments, but that's big for me. And I think it's going to be big for Aeternia to be able to do something that is a little bit silly, and to do something that is certainly creative, to be taken with just a little bit, but to still alongside that have our regular government, and to have our regular development updates here. But in all that, to show some excitement, some support for just being a part of a fun community. We did that a little bit with the how to micronation video, the basics. We've also done that with a lot of our earlier content. And I think for me, when I look at our analytics, that's what's most popular on the channel. Those are the things that are really doing well. And I want to, that's what I'm most passionate about as well. You know, I want to develop Aeternia, but I don't just want to develop it as point and shoot. I want to do it in a way that is reflective of the emotions that I'm feeling as I'm going through it, and reflective of, you know, the insane feeling that it brings up, and the position that all of these different people are in, and trying to develop themselves in this larger community that they're all pushing to develop at the same time. There are beautiful stories here, and I can't wait to explore those. Republic of Paris says, how do you make a country ball for your micronation? Again, Photoshop. I designed it. I designed it by hand. You know, I used the, you know, visuals online. I looked at it, you know, looked at how other people designed country balls, and then I built it myself in Photoshop. Conservative News says you can use an app or just draw it. Very cool. Republic of Paris says, which app? The Lizzo Republic says, use IBIS load an image and put it circle around it. Oh, that's very cool. Republic of Paris says, okay. Lizzo says, Lizlo says, IBS paint X. Conservative News says, there's an app called Country Balls Stickers. I don't know if you can use your own flag. Oh, interesting. Lizlo says, yeah, but that app is Android only. I have an app. Republic of Paris says, thanks for the recommendation. Lizlo says, Apple. Gotcha. Trains Gamer says, hello from the Kingdom of Aeternia and its empire. Hey, very cool. First off, hit me up with that. So you're the Kingdom of Aeternia, and Aeternia has an empire. So does that mean you have like colonies, and that's like, you know, you're imperial in that sense, and that, you know, you call yourself a kingdom? Hit me up. Hit me up. Wait, one says, slow internet on our side. Dang, I'm sorry. Torrance says, greetings, everyone. Torrance says, I have a population of 0. I'm sorry to hear that, Vincent. I hope everything's going well. Not Vincent, Torrance, excuse me. Hope everything's going well, Torrance. Vincent said, I'm at work popping in to say hi. Thanks, Vincent. I appreciate it. Vincent, if you guys don't know, is one of our citizens. Shout out to Vincent. Vincent, I'm working on the stuff. We've talked about stuff. I'm working on the stuff. Whiteman says, hello, Vincent. Vincent says, hi, AP, gotta go back to work. You're all good. See ya. Thanks for hanging out with us. Whiteman says, hope you do well at your job. Yep, absolutely. It's important. I hope he does too. And he does. Vincent's killing it. Lizzo Republic says, I have a population of 17. Hey, very cool. Congratulations, Lizzo. Conserve News says both. LOL. I have only 4 people. I realized communism doesn't work well, and I didn't understand Islam and democracy wouldn't. And I didn't understand Islam and democracy wouldn't really work with 4 people, so I just went with empire. Makes sense. Oh goodness. You see how zoomed in I am right now? That's not supposed to be the case. Oh gosh. Oh gosh. Well, there it is. There's the thing. Okay. Somebody asked me if I'm going to be attending MicroCon. I will respond to that just as soon as I can zoom out. There we go. First off, sorry about that. Back to some serious questions. So first off, I have missed so many people. Thank you all so much for being here. First off, I want to say hey to everybody. The Ocean Channel, it's good to see you. I want to talk to you guys in just a moment. Sardom of Calsaria, again, I want to respond to you guys. Very cool. Okay, so lot of stuff. Let me go back. Also, 13 viewers, 16 likes. I appreciate you guys being here. I wanted to bring up, the longer you guys stay in here, the more you hang out, the closer we get to our monetization. Right now we're at like 2,600 watch time hours. We need 4,000 to get there, so you guys being here helps a lot. Real quick, let me hit up all these things. So, oh goodness, okay. Whiteman says slowly transitioning. Good luck with a republic with a constant ruler. Good luck. Ari says, didn't one time someone could make one video and be a citizen without any more taxes? Yes, we still do that right now today. Ari, that's not like a change. You can't do. It's still active right now. If you make content for our channel, you got citizenship. Lizlo says, yeah, in principalities. Lizlo says, depends on what country they're in and how big it is. Fair. Conserve News says, America is so weird and confusing. Yeah, I agree. Sardom of Kalsari Sia says, might be based, since I've only ever led monarchies in the last 3 years, but I think monarchy works best in micronationalism. It can. Depends on your situation. Lizlo says, I live in America, and it is. Trains Gamers says, agreed. Everybody said, yep. Torrent says, a crown republic is the best both worlds. Just an opinion from an irrelevant PM. What? Whiteman says monarchies do best in micronation, small population, 1 or 2 rulers. Makes sense. Lizla Republic says my micronation has something called a grander. It's our ruler. Hey, very cool. Congratulations. Torrent says, how did you guys get citizens? That's a great question. I think it's about finding people who associate and agree with the things that you're trying to do, and doing them in a way that listen to their needs. Train says, is the Stemeria Aeternia trade issue still going on? No. If you've seen our video that we did not too long ago, a few months ago, we completed our trade deal with the Empire of Stemeria. Of course, there was drama all through that, and they, of course, never responded to us or thanked us or anything for it. And they were, upset because we didn't do it in the time that they wanted. But we sent it out to them, and we delivered it. So yeah, I made a video showing, the package that we sent off. I thought it was really nice. I put a lot of effort into it. We packaged that up, sent it off to them, and they have it now. Conserve News says, oh god, not Stemeria. Yeah, it's a whole thing. Whiteman says, Torrance, I get citizens by asking my citizens to refer my empire to them and see if they see if problems of America, if the problems they have with America follow our ideals. Smart. Lizlo says, put at least 3 hashtags in it. Interesting. Ari says, I don't think it's going on since AP gifted them more stuff. Yes, absolutely. It's silly. Conservative News says, Stemeria, in my opinion, has had issues before this. I don't like Stemeria. I never have. I respect the opinion. I'm now, of course, very biased about it, but I don't like Sumeria either, and I don't think there are a ton of people who do. There are multiple issues. Torrance Kingdom says 3.5 acres is 3.5 more acres than Kingmania. Hey, I appreciate that. Well, if, Torrance, you ever wanted to develop something with us, we're both in the same state. It's entirely possible. Just let us know. Conservative News says, if I'm thinking about the right nation, Temeria has been honestly saying more controversial and more limiting stuff, I guess. Oh, for sure. Yep, they're a huge concern. But the good news is they're not even a micronation anymore, so it doesn't matter. Sardom of Kalsara says, same with Kalsara, 3.5 acres really expensive here. Lizlo says, what are your opinions on expanding AP? That's a great question. So because we are not secessionists and because we are not simulationists, we have to, because we're realists, I should say this, we view the world as what it is. We understand that, for example, I live in the United States of America. I live within its territories. Vitae is inside of the territory of the Empire. The Empire of Eternia's territory, Vitae, is inside of the United States of America. And so that being the case, we are beholden to its laws. You know what I mean? We can't murder somebody in Vitae and say, oh, but we're a different thing. We have to pay taxes to the United States, all of that. So we are a realist in that sense. And because of that, we also, we acknowledge property rights in the United States. So, for example, we don't just walk onto somebody's private property and plant our flag and say, this is part of Aeternia now, we've expanded. We actually do go through and legally obtain the property rights in the United States or anywhere else that we would develop a territory to that land. And so that's been our method. That being the case, that's how we view expansion, is by legal property ownership. I will say we're going to have to head out, so I appreciate everybody. Let me run away. Hey everybody, real quick, I just wanted to say we're having some connection issues. Also, Tiffany and I are about to leave, so I'm gonna head out. I appreciate you.
Fill up the car.
Yep, and we gotta fill up the car. So it's good to see you guys. I appreciate you hanging out with us. Again, go check out our website, our Etsy, all of that. We're doing stuff. Aeternia forever. See you guys next time.